Dan Hoard back in Newport, Rhode Island with my broadcast partner on Bearcat Radio, former UC standout Jim Kelly Jr. Cincinnati picked to finish first in the 11-team American Conference today. I would call that a sign of respect for the program, especially considering that they do not have a returning quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's a big key right there, Dan, and that speaks volumes to the program and where it's been over the last 7, 8, 10 years. The fact of the matter is that the quarterback is a key component to your offense particularly, but to your football team, and the fact that Brendan Kay moved on and no quarterback that's taken a snap, that, with the exception of Munchie Legault, I absolutely believe it's respect for the program.
It's an interesting gathering this year. Louisville and Rutgers no longer part of the league. We've been here before when it was Big East Media Days. Now you've got 3 schools coming in, and East Carolina, Tulane, and Tulsa, and it almost seems like it's a getting to know everybody gathering.
Yeah, it's absolutely been that way. You're seeing not necessarily faces, because those change anyway, but schools that you haven't seen here before. In East Carolina, and of course Cincinnati has a past with those 3 teams, Tulsa, East Carolina, and Tulane, from back in the Conference USA days. But East Carolina brings to the table a pretty good football team, and obviously we're picked to finish 4th in the conference, so of the newcomers, the highest ranked opponent.
Cincinnati brought 4 players to this event, including quarterback Munchie Legault. It was nice to hear the commissioner recognize him in his remarks to the media, and certainly potentially a great story if Munchie makes it back on the field.
Yeah, yet to be determined. Still got a lot of work to do, but he is, spent some time with him, walking normally, seems to think that he can play. Again, time will tell, but I think a great story in itself. Nice of the commissioner to acknowledge it, and good to see Munchie here.
We're a couple of weeks away from the start of training camp. What are the things you are most looking forward to seeing at Camp Higher Ground?
Well, I think the things that I'm looking forward to seeing is the offensive line. I think is a huge key for this team. And when I say it that way, on paper they're very, very good, but as we saw in the spring, injuries, and again, that's a time when you want to heal those injuries, but we saw the kind of the toll it can take when guys go down last year during the regular season, and then in the spring most of those guys were held out. So I want to see how they gel, and if they gel, the passing game I think is certainly going to be there. The running game's one that offensive line can make or break, so I'm really looking forward to watching those guys, see how they gel. On the defensive side of the ball, you got a new defensive coordinator and a new scheme, so we'll see how. I think that's an area that I really want to watch and see how they develop.
You played wide receiver at UC. You followed this program for all of your life. Have you ever seen a deeper group of wide receivers than the Bearcats have right now?
No, I have not. And not only that, they're of all different varieties. You've got guys who are 6'7" who can go up and get the ball. You got Shaq Washington, who led the team in receptions last year, who's your possession receiver. Probably will catch 80-some balls again this year. I think he got 78 last year. A nice mix of very talented wide receivers. And honestly, the staff's they've got some tough decisions on how they're going to get all those guys on the field throughout the season. They're very good.
And up to Gunnar Keel in all likelihood to get those guys the ball. That's Jim Kelly Jr. I'm Dan Hoard. Much more to come from Newport here on GoBearcats.com.